Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
Hi, I'm DK Will. This is DK Will. Talk about it. I was looking over my content, folks. I was trying to come up with, what am I going to talk about next? I already have a topic lined up, but I'm going to go with something that came to mind first. And what that is I'm going to go over the Brad Garlinghouse public address. And I know it's been covered by many, but it hasn't been covered by me. So this video is going to be strictly a listen and discuss Brad Garlinghouse's video.
Hi, I'm Brad Garlinghouse. As many of you know, I don't often make videos like this, but then again, not every week has been like this one.
Just to let you know ahead of time, folks, this is a monumental week. Look at the smile on my face. You know I'm in a lawsuit. You know I've been sued. You know I've been battling this for now 2+ years. And you know I've been spending hundreds of millions of dollars in this fight. But look at the smile on my face, and it's so glorious that I need to talk about it. Well, welcome to DK Will Talk About It. Mr. Brad Garlinghouse, talk about it.
A few days ago, after 2 years, 7 court orders, and over $100 million in legal bills, the Hinman Speech documents, including internal SEC emails and comments leading up to this now infamous 2018 speech, they've finally been unsealed. Hinman Speech created new factors to determine if a token becomes sufficiently decentralized to no longer be considered a security.
What? Are you kidding me? Hinman did what? Look at that eyes. Let me tell you something. That's exactly what Hinman did. Hinman's a fall guy, y'all. He's not the only corrupt person in the SEC, but we need a fall guy. And I'm Brad Garlinghouse, and I know how to play this game. Check this out. He says, what are some of the factors to consider in assessing whether a digital asset is offered as an investment contract and is thus a security? He gives a list. Is this his personal list? Or is this the Securities and Exchange Commission's list? Whose list is it, Mr. Hinman? He says it depends on particular facts and circumstances. This list is illustrative, not exhaustive, but here's the list. And that was from the third of a list of a series of videos I did on the Hinman Speech recently. That was the third one, and that was a list. But let's and it was referred to, so I refer you to it. Let's listen to Mr. Brad Garlinghouse. Go, Brad.
At best, these documents show that senior officials at the SEC couldn't agree on the law and told Bill Hinman directly he would confuse the public even more about the rules for crypto. At worst, they show that Hinman deliberately ignored the law, and he tried to create new laws, something only Congress can do. And while he was a public servant, Hinman received millions of dollars of payments from his law firm, which was part of an alliance with others that had a vested interest in this speech.
Okay. Something that only Congress can do. Sorry, y'all. This is wonderful. We are going to look at the Brad, but I'm also trying to promote myself. Did I ever address that issue of who's going to decide what in this case? I did. The answer is yes. It made me think of a comment I made way back. It's October 22, 2021. I was watching a video done by who? Might have been Digital Perspectives, or it could have been Digital Asset Investor. I'm not sure, but there you see the comment. The Supreme Court does not make the law. The Supreme Court decides on disputes and violations of the law. In other words, interpret the law. Congress and the Treasury will create and determine what is law. Legislative, judicial, and executive can't make the law and enforce it from the bench. And I say that, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, folks, with this comment that is, approaching 2 years old now, that it's going to be Congress that makes the law, okay? And what I'm going to say here and get back to Brad is, if Congress makes the law with XRP in mind, in cooperation with the Treasury of the United States, who's over the money, it's going to be a new law, folks. And it might be a new law that has the XRP standard. And because it's a new law, that would mean that XRP will already be compliant to that law because XRP will be the standard. So Congress makes the law, and you won't be able to take XRP to the Supreme Court, Ripple that is. You won't be able to take Ripple to the Supreme Court for the law because they will be the standard of the law. But everybody else is going to have to conform to that law. That's what I think is going to happen. You can't hold Ripple to a law that doesn't exist. Howey is outdated and useless in this instance. And a new law is going to come out of Congress as we see developing as we speak. Let's get back on track. That's all I got on that. Let's get it back on Brad.
This speech isn't about any one token or any one blockchain. This is about showing the extent to which the SEC has relentlessly pursued enforcement actions against crypto players while professing fake open arms and calls to come in and register, all the while lying about their so-called guidance.
Okay. That's a heavy accusation that will border on libel and slander and defamation and character and all types of stuff. Sedition. So you don't make a comment like that about a government, self-regulated organization, or pretty much anybody lying about it. You don't say that unless you absolutely know you got enough, I can't think of a better way to say it, y'all. You got enough ass behind it to back it up. You just don't do it otherwise. Keep going, Brad.
As some of you may know, Ripple spent years proactively engaging with the SEC. I personally met with Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman, with no lawyer present. Why would I need a lawyer if we were all coming together in good faith? We answered every question they had, and not once did they suggest to me that XRP was a security.
Because what they were really doing was infiltrating your operation so that they thought they could successfully come after you and control you in behalf of China. Let's be real here. China. In behalf of China and Ether and all that other stuff. That's what they were doing. That's what they continue to do. There's a war going on. Financial, economic, all over. And Brad from Kansas is on the patriotic side.
We're fully transparent, not knowing they would then use this information against us. The SEC hit us with a surprise Wells notice saying they were considering suing us for breaking securities laws and still refused to provide specifics.
That reminds me of the white van when I was growing up. You got to be afraid of white vans because they come up and they offer you candy so that they can abduct you. And I know somebody's son who almost got abducted that way. I know that as a young man, it wasn't a white van. For me, it was a black car. But I recall someone tried to abduct me when I was around 14 years old. But my mother had kept me alert to things like that. So I knew how to respond and got away. But that's what the SEC reminds me of. A pervert trying to seduce somebody to come in so they could take advantage of them.
To those that have recently been hit with their own Wells notices and lawsuits, this likely sounds all too familiar. When the lawsuit did drop against us, days before Christmas, a very Grinch-like touch, they made it personal.
And that's why they messed up. And that's what Brad's saying. Oh, no, you didn't. Brad is offended. And he said, give me my armor. Give me my sword. Give me that bear on that boat and let's go to war. And guess what? I got $15 billion behind me amongst my own billions that I've made.
They sued Chris Larson and they sued myself, alleging we should have known all along that XRP was a security. You can now see plain as day, they couldn't even agree amongst themselves. And to me, it still seems like they can't. What we saw play out in our case is exactly what's still happening. The SEC is looking to kill crypto innovation in the United States, and its current chair, an unelected bureaucrat, I might add, is weaponizing the lack of regulatory clarity to exert jurisdiction over the entire crypto space.
Okay, and that's really what it is. They're not necessarily trying to kill crypto industry. They're trying to hand it over to the incumbents. Brad knows that.
This is the definition of putting politics over people. It's the pursuit of power over sound policy.
There we go.
The SEC tried to bully us into acquiescing. Thankfully, we have had the resources to fight back.
That
And now
15
we can
billion.
all see what they've fought so hard to hide. They knowingly created confusion about the rules, and they used that confusion to regulate through enforcement. That's bad faith, plain and simple. Ultimately, as our lawsuit comes to a close,
As our lawsuit comes to a close. Not when our lawsuit comes to a close. As our lawsuit comes to a close, which means it's coming to a close now. Which is why I can speak so freely now, because remember, he had to wait to speak. And now I already know where this is going. And did you see the smile on my face in the beginning? Have you seen me frown? Do I look like I'm defeated? Am I talking like I'm defeated? No, because I'm not. That's what Brad Garlinghouse is saying.
so many others, it's just starting. The fight for clarity has to continue. I just want to conclude by saying to my colleagues here at Ripple, to my family, my friends, everyone who has supported us over the past 2.5 years, and certainly to the whole of the XRP Army, a very heartfelt and a very genuine thank you.
And now he is demonstrating that he's a class act. And how many CEOs do you know that even addressed you in the first place? But those who've been around, the warriors that have been around for a while, know that it was decided long ago, back I guess in 18 or so, 2018 that is, that XRP holders are probably amongst the most educated of the crypto holders, meaning we're not just chasing speculative opportunities here. We're investing. And Brad has learned that. And I tip my hat to Mr. Class here, Brad Garlinghouse, but I also tip my hat to people like Digital Asset Investor, who is the true pioneer of this movement of the XRP Army. I mean, and then you got to tip your hat to people like Brad Kimes. I could go through a lot of names. You know, I'm just a small channel here, but my ear is directly on the ground. And Brad knows it, and he's got a class act, and he's saying, I know you guys are out there, and I've been feeding you enough information for you to hang in there, and now it's coming to a close. So that takes me to the first short I ever did. I'm not going to show it to you. Look for it. Hold on to what you got, folks. It's coming.
For that support.
I'm DK Will, and this is DK Will Talk About It. And I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.